Hey, this is Greg Merchel. I am the new PTA treasurer for this year, and if you're watching this video, it means that I am still in China. Before we get into the exciting topic of the financial review for this PTA meeting, I wanted to take a quick second to introduce myself. This is my second year as a PTA member, first year as PTA treasurer. I have three kids. My oldest is in Kinder Tweeby this year. Teacher's Tagamora. And then I have 3.5-year-old twins that will be in TK starting next year. I am originally from the East Coast, and our family moved here about 3 years ago in June of 2021 from the Boston area. All right, so let's get into some slides. If I can find them. All right, so let me share my screen. Okay, so I wanted to start with a summary of our 23-24 school year. So you can see at the table on the top left that we had a starting balance just shy of 288K with an ending balance of around 308K. One of the interesting things to note about our PTA budget is that we're fully funded from our previous year fundraising. So when you look at this budget, it looks like we're running a deficit or close to it, but in reality, we're spending all the money that we raised. All right, so drilling down into our income, we had an income of about 231K last year. If you look at the table one on the bottom left here, you can see all of the different revenue streams that the PTA uses to generate funds. So you can see we have a wide variety of different ways that we generate money as a PTA, with our annual given corporate matching, our 5K auction and walkathon as those major revenue streams for us. Last year, we spent just shy of 211K in expenses. So if you look at the graph on the top right, it shows all of our different expenses. As you can see, the bulk of what we spend as a PTA and what we spent last year was on academic enrichment. I'll drill down into that, into those specifics in a second, but just also calling out that we do spend on teacher classroom stipends, so teacher stipends, field trips, things like that, as well as community and school spirit. So like, teacher appreciation, campus beautification, fifth grade signs, those kinds of things. So now looking at academic enrichment specifically, you can see that we have quite a few things that we spend our money on in the realm of academic enrichment. But those primary areas that we spend on are our physical education for the kids, our mad science program, our music program, and then our environmental science and garden science programs. At this point, I will pause or stop here, and if there's any questions about last year's budget, I can have Nate handle those questions. Okay, so now looking at our upcoming annual budget for this school year. So before we get into the numbers, I just want to quickly touch on our budgeting, accounting, and reimbursement procedures. So looking first at budget, first item here is transparency is paramount, all of our budgeting processes. So we want to make sure that we are reviewing and talking about budgets with all of you, and everyone is aware of what we're raising as well as what we're spending. Our preliminary budgets are developed and approved in the springtime. The PTA will release those funds by program, so we'll cut specific checks to math science program, phys ed program, music program as per program basis. We have multiple approvers for all of our checks that we cut to ensure that there's no bad behavior that's occurring in our PTA. All of our expenses that we call out are ratified after we spend that money. And that our association approves our annual financial report. And then looking quickly at our accounting procedures, We're following all of the PTA bylaws that are set forth by City of San Jose, by the district, by the state, by federal PTA. So we're following all those bylaws. All of our checks are signed by two board members to ensure, again, no bad behavior. And we do not allow any electronic withdrawals from our PTA funds. All of our cash is collected. All of our collected cash is counted twice on site when it's collected, and then again by the financial secretary to make sure that any kind of actual hard cash that we're bringing in is verified 3 times. We have multiple people that have visibility into our QuickBooks and bank accounts to make sure that there's visibility and transparency amongst our whole PTA, not one person having the keys to, QuickBooks, bank accounts, things like that. And then we do auditing twice a year, which is approved by our board and our association. Our reimbursement procedure is as follows. So we ask that any of our reimbursements that occurred through the PTA, that we aggregate those expenses as much as possible. We want to avoid having to write like your $3 grandmother's checks that come in. So try to bundle those as much as possible. When you do so, make sure that you're calling out, the event and event lead, making sure that we have one email for multiple receipts and that you're including your address if we are mailing those checks to you. Event leads should make sure that they're verifying the budget for the event ahead of the spendings to make sure that we're not overspending on a specific event. Very important, this next bullet, to making sure that we're emailing all of the reimbursements to this reimbursement@wgepta.org, ensuring that you're calling out the payee name, amount, and category in the subject line, and that we're making sure that those are kind of standard emails that go out for reimbursement. Direct payments to vendors are made on an exception basis, so we want to make sure that any lead or event organizer is not paying those vendors directly, that the PTA is cutting those checks. That once you submit your reimbursements, it'll be approved by the financial secretary ahead of the actual reimbursement check being cut. And then once approved by the financial secretary, I will physically write those checks. I have some here if my camera is still recording. And I'm looking to try to turn those around within 2 weeks, knowing that I have to get those checks, I have to cut those checks, we have to get 2 signatures. So we understand that you guys are spending money, so we're going to try to get those checks over to you as soon as possible. All right, so let's quickly look here at our 24-25 planned budget for this year. So kind of in a similar note here, we have a starting balance of $308,138 and looking to have an ending balance around $183,348. If we look into our expected fundraising for this year, we're expecting about $246K of income with $106,000 for that fundraising expenses. Kind of breaking it down in this table below on the bottom left, that second column shows all the different income streams that we're expecting. So 5K annual giving, auction, and walkathon, again, being those high, fundraising generating items or events that we put on. And then, the expenses in that column next to it for each of those events. So as you can see, things like the 5K are pretty expensive to put on, whereas like an annual giving, corporate matching, it's pretty cheap for us to do that. It's, writing checks, getting checks, things like that. In addition to our fundraising, we're expecting to spend about $265,000 this year for various activities and enrichment items for the school. So kind of drilling into that in this table over here, similar to what you saw with our previous year, 23-24 breakdown is the bulk of what we're going to be spending on here is academic enrichment, about 60% overall. We are looking to spend about $51,000 here on classroom stipends. So again, more field trips, more teacher reimbursement, things like that. And just the other items there, community, Tiger Spirit, things like that. So drilling down again into our academic enrichment programs here, a little bit different than what you saw from last year's financial reports. Again, phys ed and music being kind of those two big revenue streams that we are going to be spending again on this year. But a change from last year is instead of Mad Science, We are going to be investing more in our environmental and garden science program here with a total spend of about 38,000 for those two programs. Um, and this, yeah, just a high level breakdown of where we stand. So at this point, I will thank you all. I look forward to meeting you guys in person during our next PTA meeting, and I will turn it back over to Nate for the budget and expense ratification and approval. Okay, thanks. Bye.